Congratulations, Alchemist Nation. You made it back. All right. Turning lead into gold is our thing. You know it. Turning your job into creating income and two times your income is what we're all about. And after that, you got to start with the 52 wealth principles. So we've all figured it out. The fastest way to two times your success is to follow success. Well, we follow our multimillionaire co-founder, Walter Amarello. His time, we follow. His money, we follow. And a proven way to get the lead out that's been holding you down so that you can make room for that goal. Today, he's going to talk to you about giving you the first two principles. But, of course, remember, he's all about action. You've got to take action. Are you up for the challenge to turn lead into gold? All righty then. Here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Walter Amarello. Give him a big hand. Come on, guys.
Welcome back, Alchemist. Let's give Stephen Beaver a round of applause. What a great introduction. We decided that finding out what the wealth principle of the day is probably a good idea before we start the wealth principle. So wealth principle number one, this is the beginning of our journey. Again, this is season number 4. So if you've been with us for the last 4 years, please give yourselves a round of applause. 4 years of doubling your income, 4 years of doubling your net worth. This year, my net worth is $5 million. That's a pentamillion. It's right around that 4,800, that 5,2. Kind of goes back and forth with the stock market and with crypto, but my real estate has stayed solid. So, hands to care if you love real estate, if you recognize that builds millionaires. What's interesting is my business net worth has gone up, and it's 2 times bigger than my real estate portfolio right now, because business, once you've gotten skills in real estate, becomes significantly easier to grow, which is why we'll be talking a lot about it on Be the Bank coming up in the future. So wealth principle 1, think a million. Wealth principle 2, choose a business that can make $1 million, which is why I share that real estate was how I started, but building businesses is where I'm going. It's where we make a lot more money and our net worth grows much faster. That doesn't mean it's where you start. So we're going to talk about where you should start today and where you may want to end up in the future. Do not do what I do today, because you are not where I am. Hence, if you understand, it doesn't make sense to start with diversification if you don't have anything to diversify. Excellent. You got to start with focusing. And so wealth principle 3, which comes next week, and potentially 4 are going to allow you to learn exactly how to do this. But wealth principle 1, think a million. Let's start there, because I was talking to Vinny this week. And Vinny Chopra is obviously a billionaire. He's very successful. He's done it through real estate, through syndication. So millionaire wealth principle 1 and 2. First, think a million. What he told me is that not only is your thinking of $1 million important, it's also how you feel about that $1 million. And he wrote the book, Positivity Brings Profitability. Who knows that Vinny authored this book, this powerful positivity mindset book? A billionaire said that this is how you become rich. Why is a billionaire telling us to think positive? Isn't that what the Tony Robbins of the world say? Those spiritual people say? Why are they always talking about think positive? Oh, be positive. And they just say all these crazy affirmations. Who's made fun of this stuff at some point in your life? Maybe not now, but at some point in your life, you've made fun of these affirmations, these positive thinkers. Me too. I am one of those action takers, right? I have real money. I made real businesses, and I believe in affirmations. I believe in positive thinking. And that held me back. But what made me successful was a grind. I figured out doing the right thing the right way at the right time. Who here has figured out the hustle and the grind works? Hustle and grind will make you $1 million. Absolutely. The challenge is it really hurts. It's very painful. It's very difficult to get there if all the time you're negative and pushing yourself and really working very hard. Whereas the positivity makes it a little bit easier. There's no getting around the fact that you must do the right thing the right way at the right time. There's no getting around the fact that the grind is necessary at some points. But without thinking a million, your grind will suffer. Your grind will be wrong. Who here has worked for 10 years and not made the $1 million in a year yet? Has anybody on this call worked for 10 years and still not made $1 million in a single year? So then one of your components was wrong. One of your components was not the right thing. I have made $1 million, not just in a year, I've made $1 million in a month. Now, what scares the hell out of me is making $1 million every single month. That's one of those mindsets I'm working on right now with myself and my own business. But I have done $1 million in a month. I've done $1 million in a year. I've done $1 million in a quarter. I've done $1 million over 2 years, 4 years, 5 years. I've done the other ones. Those were stages that got to the $1 million in a single year. Hands to the camera if you understand there's a difference between earning $1 million and keeping $1 million. We understand there is a difference. And in order to do any of it, you first must think $1 million. You must do $1 million math. Who here's done $1 million math before? Show of hands or drop in the comments if you've done $1 million maths. Drop it in the chat to say, yes, I've done $1 million math. If you have, then you know what I'm talking about. Drop it in the chat. What is your strategy to get to your $1 million? What is your $1 million math? And while we're waiting for everybody else, you just drop it in the chat, man. Don't you do not talk while I'm talking today. This one is fast. So I got two principles we're jamming into one space. So $1 million math looks like this. You can serve 10,000 people with $100. $100 product that will make you $1 million. Or you can serve 100 people with a $10,000 product, and that will make $1 million. You can also serve 100 people a $1,000 a month product, and that would make $1 million. Hands to if you're understanding what $1 million math looks like. Here's where it gets interesting. You could serve 10 people a $100,000 product. That would make $1 million. Who here knows flips can make $100,000 on a flip? Real estate investors, where my peeps at? So a $100,000 transaction, right? $100,000 flip. All you do is 10 of those. That's $1 million. Dorina right now, she's got a commission check that's going to be coming to her. That's a $90,000 commission check from one transaction on a $5 million real estate deal. And scam, if you understand, 10 of those makes $900,000. So it's not quite $1 million. So I guess she needs another one. This is $1 million math. It's very important that you do the math before you start your job, before you start your business. And you must think with actual time. Math is thinking. Who agrees? It's painful. That's why most people don't do it. Right? It's like, I don't want to do it right now. I just don't want to think about it right now. Who's heard somebody say that before when it came to doing the math of their business? When it came to looking at their expenses, when it came to looking at, what their income structure is, negotiating contracts or reading a contract. I just don't want to do it right now, because thought is the hardest work on the planet. It is what separates your wealth from everybody else. Most people would just rather be told what to do, go through their life, and then see how it turns out. Who knows some of those people? Like, who's tried that strategy, right? Raised, just do whatever you want. Be yourself. Dude, don't be yourself. Yourself is broke right now. Don't be that anymore. And don't be average. Don't fit in. Certainly don't be average. Don't go under the radar. Thinking $1 million is going to make you different from everybody else. Who knows that already? Right? If you start thinking $1 million, that means accidentally you're going to start talking $1 million, and then you're going to start finding people who have made $1 million, or start surrounding yourself with $1 million. Like just the danger of thinking $1 million is that you will start believing it. You will start talking to people about it, and then you will start earning it. And I'm not saying just think and shit will happen for you, but I am saying thinking is the first step before acting. Hence, if you're catching this, we must first think. Then we feel. Here's the manifestation process. Write this down, because this is what the secret forgot to say. This is what all these law of attraction peeps forgot to tell you, right? Tony Robbins forgot to mention this one part. Thinking creates emotions. It creates feelings. So how you feel, what the thought implies, the emotion that it creates will dictate the next action. If your thought makes you feel sad, you will cry. If your thought makes you feel empowered, you will smile. If your thought makes you feel like you should go do something, then you will go do something with power. And if your thought makes you feel like you should lay down, cry, and forget about everything and just surround yourself with nobodies, then you will do that as well. Hence, can you understand the power of thoughts and feelings? Awesome. Which is why Tony Robbins does say, change your story, change how you think about things. So I'm going to ask you to think about $1 million in this way. And we're going to do an exercise right now, because we do this every single week. Every principle is an exercise, because without action, nothing happens. And my goal for you is to double your income. My goal for you is to double your net worth. My goal is for you to double your influence. And I'll say that one more time, because it's not about who you know. It's about who knows you. And so today, let's do some action steps. First, to think $1 million, you must visually know what $1 million looks like. If you've never seen $1 million, you can look at my screen right now. This is $1 million. This is a representation of $1 million right here. And that cost me about $800 to buy it. So if you've got a little extra spare cash, throw it on the credit card. You could literally order $1 million. Comes in 2 big heavy bags. Have that in your house. Or if you were at the 100 Millionaire Summit last year, take a picture with the $1 million. I brought it so you could literally manifest and visualize. So step 1, you must know what it actually looks like. Step 2, it might not look like this. It might look like equity in assets. It's possible because my first $1 million didn't look like this. My first $1 million actually looked like equity in assets. It looked like real estate. It looked like stocks. It looked like crypto. It looked like notes that I had lent out to other people. So you may want to write down on a piece of paper what assets you own. We're visualizing. This is a vision board process, right? So write this down. Step 2. What other assets do I own that equal that $1 million net worth? There are 4 steps to thinking a million. The first is, well, the 4 steps to becoming a millionaire. The first is think a million. The second is buy a million. The third is equity of $1 million. And the fourth is earn $1 million. Ron and I have earned $1 million, but now we're looking to keep with, we've kept and not paid taxes, but not played with $1 million. Our goal now is play with $1 million post-tax. We're going to be very specific now with how we earn our money. Hands can if you understand exactly why we're saying it that way. Because we've kept $1 million, we've earned and kept $1 million, but that was net worth, which meant we didn't liquidate it, we didn't get it back out. So now we're looking to keep $1 million, own $1 million, after tax, be able to use $1 million. Now we've used millions in our companies. This year we'll earn well over $1 million, but we reinvest a lot of that back into the company. Who here has seen that in your company? Earned a lot of money and then it goes right back out. So keep $1 million is a whole other skill. It's a whole other trick. Number 3, step 3 to thinking $1 million is you must tell other people that you're going to make $1 million. And if they have the intelligence, the wherewithal to help with you, brainstorm with them on how that might be possible. Brainstorm with them on how you've already got what it takes. Do not ask them for why it wouldn't work. There's plenty of people for that. I want you to ask them to pretend with you, to play with you. What is it, your skill that you already have that could prove that you will make this $1 million? What thing that you've already accomplished and done could prove, guarantee your success? Hands can if you understand why we're doing this. We want to seek out our success. We want to seek out our reasons for success. The reasons we'll do better. This is Think $1 Million. Hands can if you can do this exercise this week. Take action on it. Awesome. As I say on the Recession Proof Challenge, this mission will not self-destruct, but your business might if you don't take action. Let's slide into wealth principle number 2. And the reason we're doing this faster, we're doing each wealth principle now faster, is so that wealth principle 52, sharpen the saw, ends up at the summit. I want to be able to, in 2023, condense and consolidate what used to take 52 weeks. I'm going to do it in 41 weeks so that we can get to the 100 Millionaire Summit and land on wealth principle 52 and sharpen the saw together for 3 days at the 100 Millionaire Summit this year. Answer the camera if you understand why we're doing it. That way, every year, we'll always land at the end of the year, we'll be at the 100 Millionaire Summit. I've got to do it this year so that it works next year. So this year, we're going to be condensing, we're tightening things up. So let's slide into wealth principle number 2. By the way, everybody has think $1 million down. We understand what we're doing here. You are a millionaire. You will earn $1 million. Hands can if you're committed. Yes. Earn the $1 million today. If your mind says I can't, fuck you. Stop it. Stop that. Like, trust me today. Trust me, you can. And I want you just to believe it today. Hands can if you understand. You felt the resistance the second I said it. You felt the resistance. Hands can if you are one of those who were like, I can't make that $1 million. Like, that's fine. You can go be that person later. But today, right now, during these next 20 minutes, I want you to be with me as a millionaire, as somebody who just says, yes, it's possible. Okay. Now we're going to choose a business that makes $1 million. And choose a business that makes $1 million is almost as important. It's the second step as thinking $1 million. If you choose the wrong business, 4 years from now, you will wake up one day and discover you're in a business that can't make $1 million. Like my good friend, Michael Shine. Michael Shine is an attorney, right? Who knows attorneys make really good money. Attorneys make lots of money. They're fantastic, rich, right? Wealthy. Mike looked at his law practice this week. I hope he's okay with me saying this, but he looked at his law practice this week. He was at a mastermind with us. Actually, he was in a different mastermind, but he came to me and Mitch, and we have our own little mastermind. We call it the Three Musketeers. And he came and he said, I did some math, and it turns out my law practice, which makes good money, is making 10% of all my income, and it takes up 80% of all my work and my thinking. He said, this is crazy the way I'm structuring my life. I shouldn't be running this law practice. I could live a much better life if I shifted it. So he's creating a title company out called Alchemist Title, and is going to be shifting some of what he does. He's still going to be serving and doing closings, but he will be doing it in a different manner so it's more efficient with his time, because the business he chose a decade ago failed him. It didn't fail for that decade. It paid the bills, but it never became $1 million business. Hands to camera if you understand the point. is to build your business so you can sell it and get rich, right? Just build your business in 3-4 years, sell it, move on to passive income, right? Take $1 million, throw it at 12%, you're earning $120,000 a year doing whatever you want, right? You can be by the pool, earn $120,000 if all you did was for 3 years, 2 years, bust your butt, build the business, make it right, sell it for $1 million, roll that capital into a passive income instrument. Now you've got passive income for the rest of your life. Too many people are thinking, I'll do this over 10 years. I'll do a 10-year strategy to become a millionaire. That's crazy. That's crazy. Either that or I'm just too efficient for this world. Hence the camera if you are also too efficient for this world, if you're willing to be, just play with me today. All right. So we got 1, choose principle 2, but like step 1 of choosing $1 million business. We're going to do action steps together right now. Who's down? Hands the camera, type yes in the chat if you are down to do this with me right now. Action steps on choosing a business. Step 1, find someone who's already earning $1 million in that business. Step 1, ask around. Step 1 is do not sit at your house and be like, might be a good idea. Let me Google this. Fuck your Google. Go find a millionaire. Go find somebody who's making $1 million, because there's nothing that you can do in that house that will change your life. I guarantee you, because you would have changed already. And so, if you've had that same brain, you had that same office, had that same computer, it's not working, right? It's not changing. Nothing's changing. Today, we're communicating, right? You're in front of somebody. You're in a room today, and you're communicating. Your life is changing. But in that house, in that office, nothing's happened. So you got to go out and talk to a millionaire. Find out what they did, right? I interviewed over 400 millionaires over the last 3 years, 400 millionaires to identify what it was, what it took to make $1 million business. And the secret I've come up with is find somebody who has made $1 million in a business. Go find them. Realtors, right? Real estate agents. Hands came if you got your license, if you're a licensed agent. Yeah. That's not the one. That's not the business. I'll tell you right now, I don't know a single realtor who's ever sold their business for $1 million unless they had an event attached to it. If they had a community attached to it, it wasn't the real estate business they sold, it was the community they sold. I've seen people sell their real estate investor associations for $600,000, $500,000, because nobody cares about, oh, you help the person buy or sell a house. But lenders, attorneys, other brokers, realtors, they care about the clients that you have stored that will keep coming back and keep bringing other clients. Here's another business, real estate investments. Not flipping, not wholesaling, but real estate investments or real estate marketing companies. Real estate marketing companies. Here's how I know it makes $1 million. Because you lock down a contract for $30,000, $40,000 a year, and you lock a couple of those down, that's now a multi-million-dollar year you're already having. Or let's say you take 10 clients at $30,000. I give you a 3-year valuation. That's $1 million business. If all you do is generate leads for real estate investors or wholesalers or real estate agents paying you $3,000 a month, like, $2,800 a month. Hence, Karen, if you understand, these are businesses that can become and be sold for $1 million. And these businesses can be built. I watched Grant Cardone do this. I literally watched him do it. He built a $5 million business in 90 days. He built a marketing agency. That's what he built, a marketing agency. Hence, Cam, if you understand, like, these are not the only options. These are just things I've seen that are easy to, not easy. Nothing's easy at this level, this scale. Nothing's easy. Real estate investment, real estate property. Buy a $5 million property for $4 million. Do one deal, you can make $1 million. Now, do you have the belief system to get there, to take the right action, to talk to the investors, to go and negotiate the deal? I don't know. I don't know. That's you. Like, you decide whether you have what it takes mentally, the fortitude to go and do what it takes to make $1 million. But here's the simplicity of this. Step 1 to choosing $1 million is go and ask somebody who's done it. Go and get a person, ask them, what did you do? And then step 2, ask them to show you what to do. Ask them to show you what to do. Step 2. So step 1 is basically get a mentor, but don't get some bullshit mentor who's like, yeah, I'll show you. Like, go get a mentor and evaluate their lifestyle, evaluate what they have, their business. If they're still in the business working hard, acknowledge that. That may be a part of that business. Hence, Karen, if you understand. Or they may have built it wrong, and that's important for you to understand as well. You don't want to build it wrong, build it right. So the mentor you get will dictate the systems that you put into place. And to the extent that they've got their systems is probably the maximum extent that you can get your systems. So it's very important that you identify a good mentor. Step one, identify the person who's done it. Step two, ask them to show you how. Step three, document it. Step three, document and make a visual representation of what you are going to do, of what your process looks like, of what you're going to do. And then write this down. Step three, it's got to be visual, right? You got to be able to create it, put it on a website. You've got to be able to put it on a pamphlet, or like we did with names on deeds. Like I teach people how to put names on deeds by building a workbook. So you got to document your process, put it together in a space, and just like an offering, like a real estate offering, like we go and we put everything on a website. We say, here's what you're getting, our PPM. Step 4 to this process, once you've documented it, is to tell everybody about it. You got to go and tell everybody what you're doing. Tell your clients, tell your competitors, tell your employees, tell everybody what you're doing and fill your business. But until you choose the right business, and by the way, it doesn't have to be done overnight. Take a week to choose the right business. Do the research, spend some time, right? Go and ask a whole bunch of people. But if it does not have the ability to both sell and doesn't have the ability to earn $1 million, this is not the one. It's got to be saleable. It's got to be able to be sold. You've got to be able to exit from the asset. Who here has been in a business that there's no way they could sell it? Has anybody been in one of those, owned one of those, started one of those? No way you could get out, right? No exit strategy. Don't build one of those. That's the most important part of choosing a business that can make $1 million. Make sure there's an exit strategy attached to it, right? Property management companies, I love them because there's always a bigger property management company out there ready to gobble you up in a heartbeat. They're like, oh, yep, take them. You know, like that's a great company. There's definitely some really good businesses in the real estate space that always have a buyer out there. Look at what lenders and attorneys are willing to sponsor. Look at what brokerages are willing to sponsor. Look at what digital platforms are willing to sponsor. Peer Street is one of our sponsors at some of our events. So you look at what they're willing to sponsor, and there's a good chance that's a buyer, right? They might buy the business from you if they're sponsoring something in your business. Hence, if you understand how we find our buyers, then ask them what they might buy, because this is a wealth principle that's going to come up later in the year. So I want you to commit to this week choosing a business that can make $1 million. By choose a business that can make $1 million, I mean commit to. I mean go all in on. I mean dedicate this entire year to making that business a $1 million business. This is not a whimsical thing. If you already have $1 million business, if you already earned $1 million, then your math obviously is how do we earn another $1 million? What thing in my company can make that other $1 million? This is why Wealth Principle 2 is so important for people who've already been through this before, people who've already done it. And if you're already earning $1 million or $2 million a year, and you're now looking to make that $1 million a month, like me and Mike Shine are going after, if you're looking to make that $1 million a month, well, then now choose a business or a changing within your business that can earn that $1 million a month. And with Wealth Principle 1, think $1 million a month versus $1 million a year. Hence, if you understand how these principles work, these are wealth principles, like universal laws. You can't change them. Don't try to outthink them. Don't try to outsmart them. These are principles. You have to follow them in order to get the results. If you want to earn $1 million in 2 years, that's $500,000 a year. Cool. Like whatever function you're using right now that would double your income, double your net worth, stick with it. Stick with it. Yeah, is it possible to earn more than double in a year? Sure. In 2015, I went from 17,000 to 120,000, 115,000. So I 5x'd my income. So I know it's possible. The less you're earning, the easier it is to make a 5x return, right? The lower your income level is, the easier it is to go exponential. But as you get to a certain point, doubling and tripling becomes about the norm, unless something explosive happens in your mindset where you just believe at a higher level. But hence, Cameron, if you understand, it's a lot easier to double because you've already seen yourself do at least half. You've come halfway already. You've proven the half, and so it's easier to go the rest of the way. So whatever works for you, but this is what I've seen work. Be patient with the process. Hands to the camera if you've read this book before. If you have read the Millionaire Real Estate Investor, who's read the blue book? Hands in the camp if you've read the blue book, Millionaire Real Estate Investor. All right, we got just a handful of people. So if you haven't read this, this is the book I want you reading this week. I want an Audible. Do not try to get through this one. This is a thick book. This is crazy. And if you're already a millionaire, go and listen to the last chapter. Listen to level 7. That's where Ron and I have been focusing right now. So what Gary Keller puts into this book, he is a multimillionaire through real estate investing. He's a multimillionaire through his agency. He owns, the biggest brokerage in the world. It is Keller Williams. But what he talks about in this book are the 7 levels of a real estate investor, how to go from level 1, which is thinking a million, all the way up to level 7, which is earn $1 million without being involved, earn a passive $1 million, walk away from the company and let this thing operate for you. He goes through multiple strategies how to get there. Some are debt payoff, some are creative financing, some are the BRRRR strategy, and some is very, very intrinsic of he buys and sells. It's called pyramiding. So he goes through a lot of different investment strategies to get there. But what I found in this book that was really interesting or really powerful was the 4 steps to making $1 million. Step 1, think $1 million. Step 2, own $1 million. That means just buy $1 million worth of real estate. Step 3, a net worth of $1 million. That means equity is $1 million. And step 4 is actually earn $1 million post-tax. So we're in step 4, keeping it. And then the second book of the week. This one, again, get an Audible. It's 1 hour. It's less than an hour. This is Grant Cardone's Millionaire booklet. And it is by far one of the most inspirational, fast, easy reads that you can get. This book got me through some dark times. It also gave me some really good fundamentals. And one of the fundamentals was that millionaire math that we did today, how to choose a business that makes $1 million, which is why I made this the Wealth Principle Book of the Week. If you haven't read Grant Cardone's Millionaire booklet, the irony is we're going to Grant Cardone's 10X this week, and he'll probably be talking about this booklet. So one of these steps in here is he's got the 4 steps to making money. And step 1, if I remember correctly, is increase income. You got a 10X, big goals, increase income. Step 2, save, but don't save to save to invest. There you go, Lou. Step
Well,
3.
hold on, G. Let's dig deeper into this because I did actually listen. I've listened to this book. I don't have a physical copy. Like you said, it's a short Audible. So
all right, let's give Mitch Jaworski a round of applause. If you're on TikTok or on Instagram, like, share, subscribe, follow.
I mean, you're glancing over it, but I mean, you can dive a little deeper because the reality is, I mean, the wealth principle you just went over, kind of Grant's book really hits on that. So it's just like, you went over that first step in terms of make that millionaire decision, right? What's the plan? How am I going to get there? What's the business? What's the investments? What's the service? Whatever it is, right? But whatever it is, it's got to be $1 million business or $1 million potential investment. Otherwise, it's kind of like, what's the point? It's not going to get you to your end goal, right? And then from there, it talks about doing that math, right? It's like, all right, you made the decision. I'm doing the math on how do I get there? What is it? What's the timeline? Is it 5 years, 3 years, 10 years, 20 years? And that's the thing, come up with your own timeline, right? You know what I mean? Like me and Walter, talk about you can basically 3 to 5 years, right? Very realistic, but let's just say it takes you 7. Is that bad? Is that terrible? Like if someone said, hey, you can be a millionaire in 7 years, would you say no? You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, I'm going to forget his name. Is it Brad Leo, whatever it is? He talks about this. He's like, if you were offered $1 million, how would you feel? You'd feel happy, right? If I said, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million, how would you react? But if I told you, I'm going to give you $1 million, but you never ever get to wake up again, how would you now feel? Would you want the $1 million? But when we wake up every morning, are we excited? Like we got $1 million? And it's a really good perspective. So like every morning you wake up, basically it's like you got $1 million, right? And you have an opportunity to essentially go after $1 million. So it's a sick mind shift and it's kind of a sidebar, but you can use that within, building out your millionaire plan and your millionaire path, because you got to stay motivated and there's going to be times where you're not. So I think it's a good little mind shift trick to use. But anyway, after you come up with that plan on how long it's going to take you, or, the math of it, how much per year you're looking to make, how long it's going to take you to get to $1 million. Then from there, this is where the true Grant Cardone comes in. Now, how do we increase it? How do you 10X it? So that is step 3. And then 4 is really like, who has my money, right? Walter says it too all the time. Who has my money? So it starts with that idea first. And then from there, you do the math, and then you figure out how to turn up the volume. And then essentially, who has that money? And those are your whatever, your clients, your investors, you know, you name it. So it's good because it's a very simplistic type of plan or method. Like, it doesn't take rocket science. And that's what's, I think, beauty and simplicity sometimes. So just keep it simple, stupid, and go make that million.
I really do wish for you to believe in yourself the way that I believe in you. I wish for you to see what you're capable of before you're capable of it. And I think that by hanging out with us every week on this journey, this 52 weeks to wealth, you are starting to realize that you might be the one, that you're the one who's capable of creating the change in your family. You might be the one who's capable of stopping your family's pattern and shifting it into upgrading to, from this day forward, becoming a transitional human being. So from this day forward, your family earns at a higher level. You may be the one who bridges the gap, who takes your entire family's legacy going forward across the chasm that is wealth and poverty, and you take them to the other side. And from this day forward, every person in your family knows what wealth is, knows what the mindset of abundance is. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. I'll see you next week.